to have a few minutes just to break bread together with you before today. And I think we are live on Facebook there also. And I just want to share on 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 12. And the word of God says, "Let no man despise the youth, but be thou an example of the believer in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity." And this is my challenge to all the young people out there. You know, being young doesn't necessarily mean you're clueless. Doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot achieve certain things. It doesn't mean that you cannot speak in public, etc. And the word of God is encouraging you and I to do not allow. And I don't think by not allowing, it doesn't mean mangumi mateke ati mtu akikuweka chini sasa unamnyonga, unampiga tisa and stuff. Hapana. Inasema kwanza in our mindset that our attitude is I shall not allow myself to be in this particular place. I will not allow myself to be in a place where I'm despised, etc. That in your mind you know who you are and you know who you are in the Lord, and thus you get the courage from there. See opportunity ya kungoana meno and stuff. But then also, even as where you sit or your mindset is already built, in God, and you have strength from God, and you know who you are, and you have this courage and this faith that only God gives. Then also there is a place we are called to be an example, and this is where I want to post this challenge this afternoon. Are you as a young person? The word says, let no man despise the youth, but be thou an example of the believers. How are your words like? How is your conversation like? How is your charity life like? Your spirit, your faith, purity, and those things. So there's something you and I can do. And number one is to not allow anybody despise you because you are a young person, because you are in college there, because you are in high school, because you are in your first job, or because you as a listener right now, whatever you are right now, and maybe you are not in this youth stage. Do not allow. Let no man despise the youth. You can protect yourself, and this starts with knowing who you are, and this starts with knowing who God says you are and believing what God says you are from there. But also, can we be an example? Can our words as youths out there show that indeed, we deserve such spaces? Show that indeed, hawa watu wanaweza nisikia, hawa watu wanaweza ni accommodate. How is your conversation like? How is your faith? Be an example in words, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, and in purity. And if you do that, then you realize that mambo inakuwa rahisi, even for you as a young person. Una realize kwamba things are a little bit easier. So my challenge for you and I is, even as we do not allow anybody to despise you or I because we are youths, that hii uwezi, hii si yako, kuna venye, such discouraging words as wezi penetrate mahali uko. What are you doing about being an example? Because you are supposed to be an example. As a Christian, uko on display. That's what I want to say. You are a letter as a young person. And as we look at even evangelizing in our places of work, in our schools, in our all these places, we evangelize by words, yes. But you know what people see is our actions. What people see is our wordings. What people see is our conversation. What people see is all these things mentioned here. Purity. Purity is not just abstaining, by the way. It starts in the mind. Are you pure even in your thoughts? Those are the questions I ought to ask you, and also to remind myself today. Am I an example? Are you an example? Acheni kunionea jumini kijana. Are you an example? Are you an example? Kwa kichwa ngumu, watu watakuona kama kichwa ngumu. So be an example. Let no man despise your youth, but be an example. Your speech should be an example. Your conversation, your wordings, even in charity. Charity, by the way, is a big deal here. I think imewekwa hapa kwa youth because we have the strength to do these things. We have the strength. Unaweza ingia mahali children's home na usafishe. Unaweza ingia, uko na hiyo strength sahizi. Our spirit, your faith, and in purity. So, I pose a challenge today. Wewe kama kijana, Are you setting an example? If yes, keep doing it. If no, wake up.